I think the problem with your answer, Minister, is that that information was in the public domain now for a whole period of months, and what we've had in the interim is a new 4-page circular which acknowledges that all was not well in the state of Denmark. Contrary to your own assertions that everything was fine, it actually did recommend changes, but it did not do what the GPSU suggested it should do and bring in a whole set of procedures which would be available on the website and open to all. And the other problem you have is that the people who blew the whistle on this, one is out of a job and the other is not entitled to do their job appropriately because they put attention on this. So there is actually a difficulty between what you're saying, oh, we're looking at it, we are, if there's a problem it will be addressed, the procedures have been tightened up, when you were the very same person who told us there were no problems with the procedures in the first place. And what we're telling you again is that there were. That's been acknowledged by the Controller and Auditor General, GPSU and many other organisations, but what we're telling you here is there's still a problem and you haven't addressed it and you haven't committed to what you said you would do.
Minister.
I have certainly relayed to my colleague, the Danish Minister for Justice, the Deputy's concern about the state of Denmark. I don't know what the Deputy knows about the state of Denmark or how they deal with these issues, but it's an interesting analogy. The position is quite simply that the important changes that were required to address issues that had arisen, and which I made explicitly had arisen, and which the O'Mahony report detailed had arisen, in respect of which proper procedures in some instances weren't complied with, disciplinary action has been taken against some members of the force, and I described some of the substantive decisions made where procedures were properly complied with as exotic. But also some of the more serious allegations that were made, for example, that road fatalities resulted, that people lost their lives because of Garda failures in this area, proved to be untrue and unsubstantiated. And the individuals that the Deputy refers to, one of them has retired from the force. He wasn't, as the Deputy puts it, pushed out.
Thank you,
that individual retired after achieving over 30 years in the force. He's also the same individual, I recall, appearing on TV3 about 30 minutes after we published the O'Mahony report, condemning it at a time when he couldn't have had time to read it.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Daly, there is a minute left if you're happy enough. Yeah, okay. There's a minute left, I said.
I think that is incredibly derogatory remarks to somebody who served their time out as a Garda, and a complete dismissal of the difficulty that a serving Garda is currently enduring in being able to carry out his job. So you can hide behind various sort of smart aleck remarks here, but the reality is you have not committed to the measures in which you said you would in terms of addressing these issues. And the reports that were commissioned, including the O'Mahony report, sought at every stage to actually minimise the claims made by those people, downplay it, and you are continuing on in that tradition here today.
That wasn't a question, but does the Minister have anything?
The announcements made on foot of the O'Mahony report's publication, the publication to all members of the force on the 30th of August of the Garda Commissioner, makes it very clear that issues have been implemented and steps have been taken to ensure that proper procedures are applied in dealing with an issue that is of importance, and an issue that I regard as important. But the Deputy doesn't treat it as important. The Deputy just sees it as an issue she can repetitively raise in the hope of getting a headline somewhere. In the context of the Joint Oireachtas Justice Committee, the two individuals the Deputy refers to, it's open to the Justice Committee, if they wish, to invite them to come and make a presentation and to provide the evidence to that committee that would undermine anything contained in the O'Mahony report, as opposed to simply being abusive of the report and the individual who conducted it. And it is serious. If it can be substantiated with hard evidence that there's misrepresentations in that report, I would take it very seriously. But it's for the Joint Oireachtas Committee to deal with the matter. The final matter is no police force in the world could operate on the basis of an individual within the force who felt free to simply publicly distribute all confidential information whenever it suited them about all aspects of the work done by that police force.
Thank you, Minister.